Greetings and welcome to Hexed Encountered. My name is Joe. In this video, we will be wrapping up my series on SCRAM 60 in Red, White, and Blue Racin from Plaay Games. So I've been using this retro fictional pack as kind of a run through because I enjoy the game for one thing, and this is a really cool set, but I also wanted to kind of experiment and see, how much work it would be for me to run through, a decent number of races to kind of get to a point where I could provide myself a proof of concept on my ability to do this as part of a bigger project for my Mythic Sports Universe on my website, simsportleagues.com. I feel like this has been a success. I know the number of viewers may not be, as much as I would get for some other stuff. Obviously, when you go unique things over, unique, and jump from subject to subject, you get more viewership than if you kind of linger on something for a while. So the plan was to space this out a little bit, which I did. And, that way it remains reasonably fresh, and those that are interested in watching the whole series can do so. And so I'm considering this to be a success. I will be following this up with other content in other games, other sports, some from Plaay Games, which I enjoy a great deal. But so this will be the last one for the 1960 SCRAM. So let's see what happens here. We're going to go with a short track for our final race. This will be the Ohio 200 at the Metropolitan Motor Speedway. So here we see on our card, it is a short track, mid-sized city, US. It's a 200-mile race, 20 turns. There are no modifiers to escape or repair. It's a .626 mile length paved oval. We will be checking for problems in the middle group on rolls of 7, and that's really the only special rule for this track. So we will get underway, start with our TV driver selection, as we always do. We roll our metallic dice and we get 10. So, as befits the finale, so to speak, even though we should be racing a lot more than just 10 races, but we get 10 TV drivers. So let's see who those 10 are. We get Russ Hartzell, Bruce Hodnett, Rowley Springer. Now note that Hartzell and Hodnett both have 3s beside their trophies. We'll have to roll to see that they make the race or not. So there's a 50-50 chance there. Ernie Galgano, Burl Exum, Lonnie Lane, Rocket Felder, one of my personal favorites. Porter Lilly also has a 3, so he'll have to be checked. That's 8. Number 9 is the 39 car with Branch Montana, and number 10, Steve Lewis in the 2. Now, if you play SCRAM, which is the fictional series that Keith Avalone provides every year for Red, White, and Blue Racin, you're familiar maybe with Wayne Montana, who would be Branch Montana's son. And Plaay released a 1995 SCRAM retro season, which would have been, or is, Wayne Montana's rookie season. So based on that, we go back 35 years to 1960 for his father. You have to assume that at this point, Branch Montana is a young driver himself. And pretty talented. He's got 5 qualities, 1 brake, 4 gas, and a gold trophy. So he's a pretty good driver. So now we have to roll on our TV week results. So let's see what we get here. So we'll start with Russ Hartzell, who does, first of all, need to roll a 3. Let me use the black die for that. He rolls a 4, so he's out. So no Russ Hartzell this week. Now, Bruce Hodnett has the same thing. He rolls a 5, so he's also out. So instead of 8 or 10 TV drivers, we now have 8. And for Rowley Springer, we get a 21, which is driver's top mechanic offers possibly illegal edge for this race. We can accept or decline and roll on the setup chart for placement. So I'm going to actually decline. Rowley Springer does not have a heat rating, so I'm going to say he's kind of a straight arrow here, and we're just going to roll on the decline setup, which is a 2. So here at the bottom, you can see we have setup opportunities. which is basically cheating, right? Which was part of racing back in the day and may still be today, but they're much better at it maybe. Anyway, we have accept and decline. He rolled a 2, late surge, placement C. So that makes it easy. So placement C, your trophy driver gets blue die position. His blue die was a 5. Blue die position in the middle group, which would be right here. So we now go to Ernie Galgano, and he rolls a oops, not black, Joey White. I was confused. 53. So 53 is tire problems during qualifying, placement D, so that sucks. So he gets to go to the bubble stack. And actually, let me pull out the appropriate gold cards here for these gentlemen. Galgano has been surprisingly prevalent in races this run for me, which you wouldn't expect because he's not a great driver, but he's not terrible either. But still, it's interesting to me that he's done so well, so to speak. Anyway, moving on, let's go to Burl Exum. And he rolls a 1 and a 6, so that's 16 hot week in hot laps, placement A, and performance chip. Well, he's a gold trophy, so he's getting the pole position and the performance chip. So Burl Exum looking to make his mark in the final race. And actually, we'll give him his gold card. Lonnie Lane gets a 54. Positive fan interaction during race week, placement C. And placement C is trophy driver, which he is. Gains blue die position in the top group, so that would be position 3. And he's going to go right there. Next will be Rocket Felder. So let's see what Rocket does. 53. Tire problems during qualifying, placement D. He is a trophy driver, so he will be placed in the bubble stack, which means he'll be in the race, but he'll be in the bottom group somewhere, most likely. And now we go to Porter Lilly, and he needs to roll a 3 to get into the race, which he does not. So Porter Lilly is out. Most unfortunately for him, Porter Lilly is a pretty good driver. Now Branch Montana gets a 15, which is TV interview. So let's see what he has to say in his retrospective interview here. He gets a 23. I felt like I had that track figured out and was able to do some things. I felt really good about that race, placement A. So he will get a blue die position in the top group. His blue die is a 4, so he's going to be right there, starting 5th. And last but not least, Steve Lewis, who actually needs a 2, so he may not even make it. And he does. He does. So Steve Lewis is in the race. And he gets a 16. Let me get this black guy out of here. So 16, conditions were perfect. The car was running great. Everything just came together. So Steve Lewis is a silver trophy. So he gets blue die position in top group. And that is a 6. So he's up here. And that completes our top group. So let's roll for how many fast week drivers we get. We get 8. So who are those 8 drivers? Well, let's find out. Willie Macaluso, Dwight Traynor, Griffin Smith, Herm Henderson, Fuzzy Peters, Norm Gundy, Bridges Baker, and Mel Roach. All right. We have 2 checks to make, Macaluso and Griffin Smith. I'm just going to do those right now. Macaluso's in. Griffin Smith is in. So they're both in. So these are pretty easy to do. We do silver goes to the highest position in the top group. No trophy goes to bottom group. Bronze goes to middle group. Bottom group, middle group, top group, middle group, middle group. Pretty simple. Once you've done it a few times, and I continue to make mistakes that I see while I'm watching these after I post them, which is a little disappointing. But yeah, please continue to post comments so that everybody can see, and I'll do that myself as well if and when I find things and other people have not yet pointed them out. So let's see how many slow week drivers are here. Oh, 10. Well, that was a 10. I flipped it to a 4 when I moved it, but that was a 5. So Perkle, Pettis, Largen, Frankie Swain, Tommy Stoffel, Pepper Stockton, Marie Schlemmer, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, Roger Peachy, and Ferris Dixon. So we have a few guys to check here. We need to check Frankie Swain, so we'll do that real quick. He's out. Then we check Boyce Daly. He's in. Roger Peachy is in. All right. So, no trophy, fails to qualify. Gold goes to bottom group. Bronze goes to bottom group. Oh, no, sorry. Bronze goes to the bubble stack. That's right. Gold goes to bottom. Silver and bronze go to the bubble stack. And no trophy, fails to qualify. So Marie Schlemmer is out. Boyce Daly goes to the bubble stack. Roger Peachy to the bubble stack. And Ferris Dixon to the bubble stack. Now we start to fill in. I'm going to do this off camera. Basically, with this one, we get gold gets highest available in the top group. So in Eldon Briscoe's case, you do this. Turn 1. You get a 2 and a 7. So we're already going to have a reflex and a check with the problem on the bottom group. We're looking at the top group and we're looking at reflex. So we will start with Eldon Briscoe. He gets a 55.43. So the 5 is good. The 4 doesn't matter because he's challenging the leader. The leader has a chip, but more importantly, he has 3 break. He actually has 4. 1 for reflex, plus the 1 on his card, plus the bonus for being in the lead. So that challenge fails. Branch Montana rolls a 162. So that also will not get it done. Lonnie Lane does not have reflex. Norm Gundy has starred reflex, and he gets 2 cracks at this. The first one's a 6, so he's going to have to re-roll and hope for a better one on the red. And this time he gets a 4-6-1, which will also not get it done. So that's going to end turn 1, pending the problem check in the bottom group. So we'll do that now. 63 on our finder is driver number 21. So there's 6 per row. So 6, 12, 18, 19, 20, 21. Look who it is, Dean Petrucci. So Dean Petrucci has a problem. Let's see what that problem is. It is a 15. It is a cut tire, causes wreck, roll on trouble repair chart, yellow flag. All right. So we have to roll for trouble. His escape rating is an 8. He rolls a 9, so he has wrecked and is out of the race. Now we get a yellow flag. Okay. So the yellow flag causes us to lose turn 2. We go to turn 3. We get a 3 middle group and a 7 again. So again, we're going to check reflex, and again, we're going to have to check the bottom for a problem. Get a 1-6-5. So the 1 is Lindsey Talby is where we start. He's got a gas pedal of 4, so the 1 is well within that range. We're checking 6, which is Steve Lewis, and 5 on the brake is going to mean that Lewis gets bumped. That challenge goes to Talby. Our next reflex driver is Rowley Sprinter. He gets a 4-4-4, which is triples, which means we have a problem check to do. And we get a 31, and a 31 on our problem finder is handling problems, roll for repair. Get an 8. Springer's going to probably be out of the race here because on his problem roll, his pit crew is a D. We are in the first third, and he needed a 5 to stay in the race, so he's out. Well, we have to continue our checks. Kenny Worthington, 2-4-4. So he's looking at Branch Montana and the 4. Montana can pull together 3, but that's not enough. So Worthington's going to pull into that spot. Joe Cook. Joe Cook has not been in many races with that 2 beside his trophy. He rolls a 5, which is too high. Jimmy Bowker also rolls a 5, but he has a 5. So 5-5-5, unfortunately for him, is another problem check. We get a 2-5-25, which is cooling problem, roll for repair. So his pit crew is a D. We're looking at problem. We are in the first third, so he needs to roll a 5 or less, and he does not. So Bowker is also out. Burke. 4-5-1. Well, the 5 won't get it done. He's not going to bump Briscoe with a 1 on the blue die. Mel Roach rolls a 5-2-1, which will be the same. Well, actually, the 5 is higher than his gas pedal, and he's only didn't roll a 6, luckily for him. Bridges Baker gets a 4, which is higher than his gas. Fuzzy Peters gets a 4, which is good. A 5, which is Eldon Briscoe, and a 1 is not going to beat Briscoe. So that is the last of our movement, but we do have 2 positions to backfill, and we do have to check for a problem in the bottom group, so let's do that first. 35, bottom group locator, gives us driver 9, so that's Godfrey Sell. So let's see what he gets problem-wise. 65. 65 is pit crew error, end of bottom group. So he's going to go to the end of the bottom group. And we have some filling to do anyway, so let's do that. He rolls a 6. That's a problem. He does have a yellow on there, so let's see what problem he ends up getting. 11, which is going to be an odd problem. And a 36 on the odd problems is radio problem with crew chief to end of bottom group. So he's going to fall to the end. Now we check Herm Henderson. He also rolls a 6, so he also has a problem. He rolls a 66, which is lost engine out of race. So Herm Henderson is out here in turn 3. Attrition rate really high right now. All right, now let's check Ross Pettis. And he gets a 5, so he'll move up. Tommy Stoffel gets a 4, so he will also move up. So these are both good drivers, and not surprising that they should move up. Now we have a lot of filling to do here on the back, so I'm going to do that. Turn 4. 5, bottom group 9 is problem. All right, well. 16 on our finder is driver 3, Carl Royal. He gets a 32, which is loose in turn to end of bottom group. So Carl Royal drops. All right, that's turn 4. Turn 5, middle group 8, Heat in the middle group. So we will start with Tommy Stoffel. It's a 3-6-6. So the 3 is certainly good enough. The 6 is Talby, and the second 6 means that Stoffel jumps up into the top group. Ross Pettis, he also has heat. And he rolls a 6, though, which is too high. So he's not going to get that done. And we'll check Steve Lewis. Rolls a 2-5-3. So he's looking at Briscoe, who has a break, has heat, gets a bonus. So that's that 3 on the blue is not good enough. Now we go to Hal Thomas. He rolls a 6. So that's not going to work. Branch Montana rolls a 6 again. So that's also not good enough. Harrington. 5, 3, 2. 2. Or 3 rather, is not going to get it done. Mel Roach rolls a 3, 6, 1. That is definitely not going to get it done. Bridges Baker, 4, too high, not going to get it done. Fuzzy Peters, 4, 5, 3. So the 4, 5, 3. 1, 2, 3, not good enough. Oh wait, no, he has a 5, and we're looking at 3. It was Lonnie Lane, so he also has a 3. So he's actually going to get that one. And Griffin Smith does not have heat, so that concludes turn number 5. Turn 6, we get bottom group 5, which is TV. We have 2 TV drivers in the bottom group. Rocket Felder. Looking to get out, 2, 4, 2. So he's looking at Branch Montana, and that's actually going to work because Montana only he has TV driver, so that won't work actually because he's a TV driver. If he was not a TV driver with his 1 break, he'd get bumped, but he is a TV driver. Ernie Galgano, 1, 2, 5. So looking at Mel Roach, and Mel Roach not being a TV driver and having no break, Galgano moves up to the 11th spot. That's turn 6, time for a pit stop. No pit turn. 4, 9. So 4 is the middle group. And 3 and 6 swap places. So Peters and Stoffel. And Burke, Cook, swap with Pettis and Talby. Now we check the middle group for fast pit. Fast pit for Joe Cook will be an 8. He gets it. Burke needs a 4, does not get it. Lewis needs a 5, no. Hal Thomas needs a 7. Yes. Hilburn, 8. Yes. Branch Montana, 8. Yes. Lindsey Tall, 6. Yes. Ross Pettis, 10. Yep, barely. But he does get it. Galgano needs a 4, so that's not going to work. Breaker needs a 5, no. Lonnie Lane needs a 6, no. And Griffin Smith needs a 5, no. Got a 10. All right, so now we need to rearrange here, so we know these guys are all going to be bumping down. All right, let's see who challenges for the lead. It is Macaluso. And he is successful, however, he has a chip, so he'll spend his chip and keep his lead. That was turns number 7, pit turn 1 in the books. We go to turn 8. Bottom group 7, so reflex, and then we check for a problem in our bottom group as well. So reflex, we'll start with Dwight Traynor here in the 8th position, 2, 5, 4. So that would be Bridges Baker, and Traynor is going to jump up. Next reflex driver, Hollis Yoder, gets a 2, 3, 5. So that would be Joe Cook. He'll spend his chip. And next is Lake Covington. Rolls a 3, which is good. 6. and 4, which is Steve Lewis. So that is going to work. And we get Forsberg. Rolls a 5, 2, 6. Branch Montana will spend his chip to keep his spot. Roger Peachy rolls a 1, 2, 4. Again, it's Branch Montana, but this time he cannot hold off the challenge, so Peachy will take that spot. Then we get Ed Bailerdin, and he rolls triples, so he has a problem check. Gets a 56, which is lost engine, out of race, yellow flag. So that's unfortunate. So Bailerdin blows his engine here in turn 8. And we'll check Rocket Felder. He rolls a 4, 3, 4. Mel Thomas will lose his chip. Next is Mel Roach. He rolls a 4, which is above his gas, so no. Vernon 2, 4, 1. Well, the 1 isn't going to get it done because Lonnie Lane does have 1. So Wilsey Whiteman 1, 5, 3. So that's Galgano, and that is going to work. And Gord McGreevy rolls too high, so that is the end of that. Now let's check for our problem. 54 is driver 16. So 5, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Warren Epperson. 55. Odd problem. Pit crew A or B would not have a problem. He's a C, which is actually pretty good for this era, but it's not going to help him. So let's see what this odd problem is. 26. Car just shuts off, roll for repair. All right, so his repair, he's a C. We are still in we are now in the middle third. So C in the middle third needs a 5. Gets a 4, so that works. However, he does go to the bottom. Now we get a duel. 6, 9. So the 9 is the 5 cars in the middle group. So Whiteman and Trainer. So we'll roll Whiteman. He will try to take on Roger Peachy. And he gets a 4, which is not good, so he gets to roll for trouble. His escape is a 9. He rolls an 8, so he's okay. So now we'll do Trainer. He'll also try to take Peachy's spot. He gets a 2, so he's going to be successful. I'm trying to get into the habit of rolling all 3 because that's what the recommended thing is in case you need to look at a blue or something. So we have to check Peachy now for trouble. His escape is an 8. He rolls an 8, so success. So that would be turn number 10 in the books. And we had a successful duel, so Trainer gets a performance chip. And now we move on. Turn 11, we get a 4, so that's middle group, and an 8 is heat. So we'll start with Aaron Burke. 4, 1, 2. Well, that's here, and that's not going to be good enough. Heat. Wilsey Whiteman gets a 3, 4, 4. So that's here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Not good enough. Roger Peachy gets a 6, so that's not going to do it. Luckily for him, he does not have a triangle. Lonnie gets a 1, 4, 5, so that's going to actually probably be good enough. He's got 1 heat, 2 brake is 3, brake bonus is 4, but that's a 5. So Lonnie Lane takes down the very tough Kenny Worthington. Kenny Worthington might be the best driver in the 60 set. I would think it's between him and Stoffel. Stoffel's also very, very good. All right, so we're moving on. We now check Hal Thomas. 556, so that's a no. Then we have Lindsay Talby, who also has a chip. So he rolls a 1, 2, 4. So he's going to actually, 1, 2, 3, 4. He's going to have to use his chip, but he's going to take Gundy's spot. And last but certainly not least, Ross Pettis, another contender for being the best driver in this set, gets a 2, 2, 6. So he is going to bump Lindsay Talby. And that is turn 11 in the books. Five, bottom group 8. So we're checking heat at the bottom. Heat at the bottom. Let's see what we get here. We start with Bridges Baker. Gets a 5, too high. Next is Jim Rentschler. 1, 4, 2. So Griffin Smith is going to lose his spot to Bridges Baker. Okay, next heat is, actually, I did that incorrectly. That's the wrong guy. It was actually Rentschler. It was Rentschler, not Baker. Almost messed that up. Straumer. Whoa, 1, 2, 1, or 1, 1, 2 rather. 1, 1, 2. Actually, that's going to be Talby, and that's actually going to work for Bernie Straumer. That's interesting. He may not stay there very long, but that's an interesting move there. Steve Lewis, 4, 4, 3. That's Worthington. He's not going to get Worthington. Marv Forsberg, 3, 5, 2. So Peachy does not have any breaks. But he rolled higher than his gas, so that doesn't work. Branch Montana, 2, 6, 1. Well, like I said, actually no. I've been using the blue for the odd even rather than just the red because it seems like that since it matches up. Like if this is a 2. Actually, the 2 is the gas pedal. I should be using the 2. I know this is a little bit flaky to do it this way because I'm changing methodology in the middle, but I had the red confused in my head. The red is the gas pedal check, so that's fine to use the red. As you would expect, because that's how Keith made the rule, I'm pretty sure. So we'll do Pepper Stockton, not start, but continue. He's got a 4, 4, 3. So that would be Rentschler, and Rentschler's time up there was relatively short. Now Rocket Felder, 6, too high. Too high, too high. No roach. 3, 2, 1. So that would be Hilburn, and he does have a, yeah, that would be a tie because he does have a break. So now we have Galgano, 4, 4, 2. So that's Pepper Stockton. So Galgano's tough. He is surprisingly tough for a guy with only 3 qualities. No break. And Gordon McGreevy, who has the option to duel instead of challenge, but he's in the top spot in his group. So we're going to challenge 1, 3, 2. So we're looking at Joe Cook, and 2 is higher than his 1 break. So Gordon McGreevy moving up. And that is the end of turn number 12. And we move on. 13. We get another duel. The number 3 car is in the middle group. So McGreevy and Thomas. McGreevy's going to take on Branch Montana. Rolls a 4, so now he has to check for trouble. 56. Lost engine, out of race, yellow flag. Well, that's the end of McGreevy. All right. Hal Thomas will now go after Montana. And he succeeds. So he gets a chip. Montana has to check for trouble. His rating is an 8. He gets a 7, so he's okay. Now we have to backfill. Start with Joe Cook. He gets a 2, so he moves up. All right, and we had a yellow, so that's going to kill turn 14, and we go to turn 15. We get a 5, bottom group 2. So 2 is skill in the bottom group. And let's see, we start with Epperson at the very back. Rolls a 1, 6, 4. So he's looking at Joe Cook, and the 4 break is good enough. So he makes a nice move there. Next skill check for Carl Royal. 2, 2, 6. So that would be Trainer, who's going to spend his chip. Next is Bridges Baker, gets a 6. So no. 6 on the red. Godson Sell gets a 1, 6, 2. 1, 6, 2. That is Gundy. 2 break. So that will actually work. Griffin Smith, 5, 5, 6. That's Lake Covington. Patch Willis has control. Oh, we're looking at skill. Well, he has that too. Duh. All right. 3, 6, 1. So that's odd in 6. That's Epperson. So that's Patch Willis moving up, right? That's who I was on, I believe. So we're looking for skill. Marv Forsberg is next. Gets a 5, 4, 4. So 5 odd is Griffin Smith. So Forsberg gets to move up. Bernie Straumer. 3, 5, 6. Yeah. Boyce Daly gets a 6, so no. Rentschler, no. Felder, no. Roach, no. Vern Burr. 2, 5, 4. That's Whiteman. And that is gonna work. Pepper Stockton. Rolls a 6. Luckily for him, he is not a triangle driver. So that is the end of turn number 15. We are rapidly approaching the end of the race here. And we get another bottom group, and this time 6, which is control. So we start with Joe Cook at the back. Gets a 3, 6, 1. So 6, 1 is Willis. Or 3, 6, yeah, 6 odd is Willis. That's what I should have said. Carl Royal rolls a 5, 2, 5. So he's looking odd here, and Hilburn has a chip. And we go to Norm Gundy. Gets a 6. He does not have a triangle, so he's okay. Lake Covington, not control. Epperson. Epperson gets a 3 on his gas. He only has 2, so that's no. Lindsay Tolby. 5, 4, 6. So that's going to be somebody. So 4 odd is Roger Peachy. So Tolby's going to bump him. Hollis Yoder with a 3 gas. Rolls a 5, so nope. Steve Lewis also 3 gas. Rolls a 264. So that would be Aaron Burke. And Steve Lewis jumps up. Griffin Smith has control. 4 gas. 233. So that's Branch, Montana. Ferris Dixon has a 3, rolls a 5. Ernie Galgano has 4, rolls a 316. So that would be Godfrey Sell. Galgano jumps back to the middle group. Boyce Daly with 4 gas gets a 261. So he is looking at Steve Lewis, and that is successful. Actually, no, it is not. No, it is not, because Lewis has control, so that's 1 break. Rentschler rolls a 6, has a triangle, so he's going to have a problem. So let's see what his problem is. It is a 41, which is battery change drop to front of bottom group. So he goes to the back because he's already in the bottom group. Now we continue with Rocky Felder, who gets a 246. So that would be Kenny Worthington, who's a tough guy, but you roll a blue 6. That's not really something most people are going to beat. Mel Roach, no control. Wilsey Whiteman rolls a 553. So that's odd on the 5, and that is Forsberg, and that is going to work. So Wilsey Whiteman jumps up. And Pepper Stockton gets a 661. Well, that's actually Steve Lewis, and he does have control, so that will not work. So that is turn 16 in the books. Pit stop. Middle group and 2 and 2. So we have violations. Violations. So Pettis can use his chip, I believe, to avoid the violation. Oh, so it's not him. Only the fast pit eligible. So instead, it's these 2 fellows right here. So these guys get moved down to the bottom there. And we check for fast pit here in the middle group. So we'll start with Joe Cook, who has an 8, rolls a 10. Lewis has a 5, rolls a 12. Wilsey Whiteman has a 7, but it's a 5 in the last third, so he has a 5. And gets a 5. Defying the odds there. Wilsey Whiteman. Vern Burr has a 4, rolls an 11. Colby has a 6, rolls a 3. So he'll be moving up. Rockefeller has a 9, gets an 11. Straumer has a 3, gets a 2. Look at this. Upside down. Stephen Smith has a 5, gets a 4. Ernie Galgano has a 4, gets a 7. And Hal Thomas has a 7, gets a 4. So he gets a second chip. So Thomas gets to move. Well, let's see who fills in these 2 spots, and then I'll do the challenge. We'll start with Pepper Stockton. Gets a 5. He's a 4, so no. Marv Forsberg gets a 2, so he gets one of them. And Mel Roach, no. Kenny Worthington, no. Ooh, tough. Boyce Daly, no. Godfrey Sell, yes. That was rough. I thought for sure the only number that wouldn't get him there was a 6, and that's what he got. Sometimes the gods of racing are not on your side. Okay, now we check to see who challenges for the top spot. It is number 5, Eldon Briscoe. He gets a 6, so that fails. So we have not had a lead change. Exum has been in first the entire race. We are 3, which an optional rule would give him a performance chip, so why not? So let's see what we get here in turn 18. 2, top group 6. That is control. So we'll start with Eldon Briscoe. He rolls a 4-4. So the 4, yeah, Exum got that chip and now has to spend it. And he may not survive and hold that lead any longer. Here's line. Gets a 5 and a 4, so he's got 1. He does not have control, so he only gets the bonus, which is 3. So he actually gets passed for the first time. And Lonnie Lane takes the lead on turn 18. Stoffel gets a 4 and a 5, so Stoffel's going to take the lead. He's got 4, so he's got 1, 2, 3, 4. But 4 is less than 5. Last time I checked math. And so Stoffel to the lead. Ross Pettis, he's got star control, so he can take 2 cracks at this. And he will need to because that 1 won't get it done. And 5, the 4 also will not get it done. So, but he has a chip, so he can use his chip. And he takes the lead, and Stoffel drops to 3rd. Macaluso does not have control, so that's going to finish that turn with Ross Pettis in the lead. Turn 19. 5, bottom group, 7. That is a reflex check and a problem check at the end for the bottom group as well. So reflex, Dwight Trainer, rolls a 6. He's got a problem. So let's see what that problem is. It is a 13. That is a multiple problems, unable to continue. So Trainer is out. All right. We're checking reflex. Reflex. Flex. Bridges Baker. He rolls a 6 as well, so no. Norm Gundy, Storm Reflex, gets a 2-6-6. That's actually a good roll. So he's looking at Marv Forsberg and will take that spot. So he'll move up, which will help him in the points, assuming he doesn't get bumped out of there. Lake Covington rolls a 4-6-5. And look at that. As I say that, he gets bumped. All right, Roger Peachy. 1-5-6. So that's Joe Cook. Peachy back to the middle group. And next, Hollis Yoder rolls a 6. So nope. Aaron Burke rolls a 6, so he's got a problem. Rolls a 64. Engine trouble, roll for repair. His pit crew is an E. It is not possible for a repair in the final third with an E, so he's out. All right. Branch Montana. 4-2-3. So, unfortunately for him, Stromer has a chip, or did have a chip, does no longer. Kenny Worthington, can he get out of here? 4-3-6. Yes, he can. That's even. Oh, no, he can't. Wilson Whiteman has a chip. And that is even, unfortunately for Worthington. Mel Roach rolls a 6. He's got a problem. 43. Overheating, roll for repair. He is an E. He's going to be out. All right. That's the end of that. That is turn 19 in the books. We do need to roll for the group problem check. 64 is driver. It's going to be at the end, so we're going to go with Rentschler as being the lowest rated triangle, or lowest positioned triangle. Gets a 62, which is clutch problem. Roll for repair. He's an E, so he cannot repair. So another one. We lost 4 drivers out of the bottom group on that turn. Middle group 7. So we're going to have another problem check for the bottom group. Yeah, this was a 7. Yeah, 7. Thank you. So we're checking reflex. Lake Covington. 2, 6, 5. Covington is going to get into the top group if he can stick. Roger Peachy. Whoops, I'm not taking it. 6, so Peachy does not succeed. Next is Vern Burr. Gets a 2, 6, 4, and that's what I was talking about because he did not stick. Rocket Felder gets a 1, 4, 1. So 4 is Burl Exum. He's got 2 brake plus reflex, 3 brake, so no. Galgano does not have reflex. Wilsey White does. He rolls he rolled a 3 on the blue. If that was a 5 or 6, he'd be having a problem. Still, the 6 doesn't do him any favors. Lindsey Tall has a chip. Will be using it for, well, maybe. Actually, he won't need to use it because Macaluso gets 3 brake, but he rolled a 4. So Talby can move up and keep his chip. And that's it for reflex checks. So the race is over. That is turn 20 in the books. So our race winner is the number 48, Ross Pettis. That's a Plymouth. In second, Lindsey Talby, the 68 Pontiac. In third, the 99 Buick of Tommy Stoffel. Fourth place, the 22 Chevy of Lonnie Lane Sr. In fifth place, the number 1 Ford, Burl Exum. In sixth, 44 Ford, Eldon Briscoe. In seventh, the Rambler, of the number 7 Rambler, that is, of Vern Burr. In eighth, we get the number 17 Chevy of Hal Thomas. In ninth, the number 77 Chevy, Griffin Smith. In 10th, a DeSoto. Yes, a DeSoto. Number 63, Bernie Straumer. Number 29, Willie Macaluso takes 11th. 30, Buick of Wilsey Whiteman in 12th. Ernie Galgano in that number 100 Pontiac. He's 13th. Rocket Felder, 88 Oldsmobile, 14th. The 89 Pontiac of Lake Covington finishes 15th. Steve Lewis in his number 25 Studebaker finishes 16th. Roger Peachy in the number 40 Chevy, he's 17th. Fuzzy Peters in the number 11 Chevy is 18th. Godfrey Sell, the number 60 Dodge, 19th. Pepper Stockton in the 54 Ford, he rounds out the top 20. Then we have Kenny Worthington, a disappointing finish for one of the better drivers on the circuit. He is driving the 46 Dodge and finishes 21st. Boyce Daly in the 42 Chevy, 22nd. Ferris Dixon in his number 18 Dodge is 23rd. Branch Montana, also a disappointing finish for him in the final race of the season. In his 39 Dodge, he finishes 24th. Hollis Yoder, 66 Rambler, he is 25th. And the balance is Joe Cook, Warren Epperson, Norm Gundy, Marv Forsberg, Bridges Baker, Carl Royal, Patch Willis, and Larry Hilburn in the number 2 Pontiac finishes 33rd. He is the last of the men who finished the race. We had 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 cars drop out of the race. But that is going to do it. That is the end. I will do maybe a recap of the season just to kind of go over the races that were run and all that good stuff. Talk about the stuff that's on the website if you want to look at it and see all the stats and everything that I've accrued. I will try to put those up on the website so you guys can see them. And yeah, that's going to do it. So thank you for watching. If you did watch all 10 races, that's awesome, and I appreciate it. Please feel free to comment, as always, ask questions, whatever. I'm always happy to interact with the people watching my videos. But that is going to do it for this series. There will be more red, white, and blue racing on the channel. You can count on that. But that will do it for now. As always, if you would, please consider liking, sharing, and or subscribing. If you are a subscriber, thank you again. I appreciate the support. And that's going to wrap it up. My name's Joe. This is Hexed Encountered Sports Edition, Red, White, and Blue Racing from Plaay Games. Test run from my Mythic Sports Universe. And until next time, happy gaming.